Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Two Asian Blokes Podcast, a podcast where we talk about Asian pop culture, films, TV shows, comic books, anime, music, video games, food, whatever we're feeling at the time, really. My name is Dan with Hate, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Tavi. Hello, Tavi.
Hi, Dan. I guess we shouldn't fuck around too much.
We've got a lot to get through, Tavi, and we're starting out later than we thought we were going to start. So I'm talking fast because I want to get through everything, and also because I'm excited. It's that time of year where we look back on last year, 2022, and we give out some arbitrary awards to movies that deserve it.
We're kind of just doing a new format because last year we just did top 10
that's right.
Best top 10 worst, and you and I were having a discussion about trying to categorize things a bit because I watched a lot of stuff that I enjoyed last year, and actually not too many stuff that annoyed me or pissed me off. There definitely was, but
there was more than I remember, to be quite frank.
Really.
Going through these categories, I was like, oh yeah, that wasn't very good, was it?
Wow, that's very interesting. I'm actually very keen to hear. No, I'm very excited to do this episode.
So we've come up with some categories, as you said. We've got a lot of categories to get through: best music, best horror, best actor, best actress, and of course, best and worst movie, best and worst TV show, plus others. So how it works, I guess, is we'll go through each category. Tavi and I have shortlisted a few items for each category, and we'll have a short discussion before deciding which of ours was the winner of each category. Now, I haven't actually chosen a winner for each of my categories because I'm hoping that you'll come up with some that I perhaps forgot to add to my list, and maybe through conversation I might change my mind as well as to which one might be the winner of each category. So I haven't
that's fair.
I haven't quite decided yet, so we're kind of playing it loose today.
I have made a decision in each of my categories, but you're right, like things could change. I might have left some things out. Before we get into it, like what did we decide to call these awards? I just tentatively thought of the Blogies because it's like bloke and logies, and
sure,
everybody
Logies
loves that.
Extremely popular award ceremony held exclusively in Australia. The Logies.
Yeah, the Logies.
Blogies sounds good to me.
Yeah, all right, we just call it
it's
the Blogies.
Everybody, welcome to the Blogies. If you enjoyed the Oscars, if you enjoy the MTV Movie Awards, then you'll probably think this is fine.
I think that's totally the best way to say it. But let's just start off with
let's go to the first category. What's our first category?
So our first category is kind of my loosest category. It's best K-pop song / best K-pop MV, because for me the category is kind of like the balance between like it's a good song versus visuals. Yeah,
I mean this might be the category that we have the least credibility, and yet somehow our K-pop videos do quite well. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know.
It's the algorithm, I guess. So I've got a list of things. Your list is probably a bit longer than mine because I think you watch a bit more K-pop than I do these days.
So that's definitely true.
Pop by Nayeon, Hype Boy by New Jeans, Pink Venom by Blackpink, Anti-Fragile by Les Seraphim, Run to You by Stacey, Beautiful Monster by Stacey, Talk That Talk by Twice, Vision by Dreamcatcher, and also that IVE song that I keep hearing, but I forgot what it's called.
Is it Love Dive?
Oh no, the other one, Afterlike. That's it, Afterlike.
Yeah. I've got Chung's Sparkling, Dreamcatchers, Maison, and Vision. Itzy's Sneakers, which is admittedly not a very good song, but I like the World War II costumes in the MV, so I chucked it on there. Twice Talk That Talk, Nayeon Pop, Exit Fire, EXID's Fire, I should say.
What? Okay, that's... I forgot that came out,
there you go, Kara's new song, When I Move, was actually a surprisingly good comeback.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that one. I've got two IVE songs, which is Afterlike and Love Dive. A Yona song, if you remember her.
Who's that?
She did like one of the Bleach songs. Hoki Bushi. Yeah, she's like actually did really well in
Is she
Japan
part of a
before
group
kind of like.
or just a
No,
solo
she's
artist?
a soloist, yeah. So she's kind of like halfway between K-pop and kind of like just being a soloist. Like,
Okay.
yeah. So her song Event Horizon, which is not about the Paul W.S. Anderson movie, but
Okay.
for
You've immediately lost my interest.
for shits and giggles, I wonder if I should like do a. You know how you used to do anime music videos? Like I wonder if I should re-edit like her song with Event Horizon clips just for shits and giggles.
Yeah, that
and
film doesn't have
lastly-
enough recognition, so you should definitely do that.
Lastly, Red Velvet's Birthday.
Okay.
To be honest, this list was a little bit slapdash. It's just kind of like what first came to my
Yeah,
mind.
just chuck it in there.
I mean, you probably already know what my winner is, but what's your winner first?
I mean, of course, Twice and Nayeon are strong contenders. Dreamcatcher as well, I enjoyed a lot more than I thought I was going to. I only started listening to them this year because you told me to do a reaction video for them. So
Yeah,
was
which
like,
I haven't finished. Which I haven't finished editing
yeah,
yet.
that'll come
So
out
sorry about that, guys.
eventually, I guess. But actually, for me, I think maybe Run to You is going to take it.
Interesting.
I don't know. This is a song that when I first heard it, I was like, okay, just another, K-pop group. But the more I heard it, it's a lot catchier than I gave it credit for. Like, it's kind of like earworm kind of catchy.
Yeah, I actually should put that on in best. Yeah, I forgot about that song. To be fair, so I'm just putting that there as well.
It is a little bit forgettable, but like once it's in your head, it's really hard to get out of your head. Just that that really boppy hook. Yeah, I don't know. Like I listen to this a lot on like our road trips in Perth, which we just took recently. So maybe that's why as well. It's kind of still fresh in my mind. And like we didn't have much in the way of music options because the car I was driving was quite old. So we had to buy like a FM transmitter and relied on, because on the country roads, like you don't really have internet either. So it just had to rely on like the few songs that I had somehow downloaded onto my phone.
And this was one of them.
One of them was Run to You, and I think it just earwormed its way into me liking it. It's that kind of Jeffrey Dahmer situation of just watching something and not letting me get away from it until I loved it.
That's quite an analogy that you've used there. It's just like the Dharma thing to Stacey for
so good, congrats, Stacey.
No, that's fair. It's a good song. I mean, like, I would probably give like the second best song of the year after like. I really liked After Like a lot.
You like the aesthetic of the music video as well, right?
Yeah, and I really like the MV too, actually. So After Like was quite a strong contender, but when it comes to K-pop, like your criteria is just basically your extreme bias because it's not really based on the quality of things. So it's obviously going to go to Talk That
Blackpink.
Talk.
Oh, what?
Yeah. No, it's gone to who are those guys? Actually, I just noticed that none of us have dudes. I actually thought you were gonna have one. Well, I thought you were gonna have one guy group. I thought you were gonna have a Stray Kids song.
I was like, maybe I should put a Stray Kids song on there, maybe a BTS song, but I was like, nah, let's not.
I'm actually very surprised. Yeah, I'm very surprised that I thought you were just gonna be a contrarian and put a guy on there, but.
No. Big Bang did have a song come out, which I quite like. Yeah, it's called Still Life. It was like their comeback song.
I didn't know that.
It's okay. It's like one of those mellow Big Bang songs. But
fair.
No, didn't make the list.
Didn't make your list, yeah. I mean, like, everything I've said about Talk That Talk is in our episode. It's a catchy song.
I'll link it here.
Good visuals. And, like, it's just Twice, man. Like,
it's just Twice. It's hard to compete with Twice.
Yeah.
Sorry, Blackpink fans. But it's true.
Yeah. All right. What's the next award we've got?
The next award we have is
we're actually
related.
Talking about.
Oh no, not related. Best non-Hollywood film.
Yeah. So I actually divvied these into categories when we were first coming up these. But you said you hadn't watched enough of each of the
Yeah, you
countries.
wanted to do best Japanese film, best Korean film, best Indian film. Like, nah, not doing that. Just put it all.
Too busy watching Marvel TV series to watch a lot of.
I'm gonna
these
talk about some
countries'
Marvel in this episode. You can't stop me.
Yeah, you're gonna.
Nah, I mean,
Yeah.
like, yeah. We should give each of these countries, individual credit, ideally. But I don't want to. I actually could talk a lot about each of those countries. Probably Indian cinema, not as much, but like Japanese and Korean film, like a lot of good stuff came out this year.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
nah, this is the first time we're doing this, so we're putting it all together. You deal with it.
I actually, I'll probably still mention them in categories, but surprisingly, there's not too many in each. I even have a European section as well. That was a couple of movies. So out of the Japanese movies I saw, I watched a film called Wandering, and I put this there because it's got really great cinematography, really great directing. It's directed by a Korean-Japanese director, and I recognize one of the actresses who plays one of the leads. From Our Little Sister, who's grown up a lot now since then. But this movie has a very controversial theme. It's basically about maybe a junior high school student who's 12 who comes across like this 19-year-old uni student, and she stays with him, and basically he gets like busted for like, I guess, grooming to say, but like she claims that she wasn't grooming and such, and then they meet years later, and then complications arise. So there's a very strong theme of P word. So it's handled very delicately. So yeah, a movie that would probably never ever be made in the West now, but I think it's
Well, that's the
it's a
beauty
movie
of-
only.
That's the beauty of these kinds of films, right?
Yeah.
They often tackle subject matter that you don't often see in the West due to monetary reasons, really. The need to turn a profit.
Yeah. I think it was based off a novel. I might talk about this film a little bit more later. Then I've got Ito, which we watched during the Japanese streaming service.
Okay.
About the girl who plays shamisen.
That was a very pleasant film to watch. I quite enjoyed it.
It was a very surprising movie. Yeah, I love that movie. The third movie I've got there is My Small Land, which is about a group of Kurdish immigrants living in Tokyo to escape the civil war, and it's told through the eyes of a teenage girl. It's kind of like that immigrant story, but like in Japan, so it's quite a different take from what maybe we're used to. The fourth movie is another strange movie, Baby Assassins. It's just about these two high school girls who are killers, but they have to like look for a part-time job.
Do they exclusively kill babies? Is that why they're
no,
baby
they just-
assassins?
No, it's kind of like they're cute assassins,
Oh,
you know.
okay.
Yeah, I want to talk more about this movie a bit later as to why it's there. In Korean movies, I've got Decision to Leave, Broker, Snowball, which I covered during one of my recommends episodes, and I have some action movie called Special Delivery, which was quite surprising. I think I mentioned for you to watch this, but we never got time to covering it.
That's right.
But it's basically the actress from Parasite plays like a Ryan Gosling Drive-like character who moonlights as a driver for crime figures. It's surprisingly cool, like noir action film. That's why it's there. For Indian cinema, I've got like Chup, which I think I mentioned a couple of times about the serial killer who kills movie critics.
Yep.
It's kind of a funny idea. Vikram Vedha, Alcoholia. And obviously, Triple R's there, which doesn't need any introduction. And then in Taiwan, we've got A Leg, which we talked about.
Yep.
The Falls. Another movie called Goddamned Asura, which is kind of about like the point of views of people who witnessed like a mass shooting in one of the streets. It's pretty interesting. Again, probably not the lightest subject, but it's actually not too heavy, surprisingly. We've got The Sadness. You know,
Oh,
I mean
yeah.
that needs no introduction. There's a lot of pretty violent film there. And a movie I just watched last night called American Girl, which is about, just during the SARS epidemic of 2003, like a Taiwan family moves back from the States to Taiwan. And then lastly, I've got 2 European films which I watched last year. All Quiet on the Western Front, which is
I've heard a lot about that film.
based on the German point of view during World War One, and The Innocents, which is about a group of kids who have basically superpowers, and they're trying to kind of figure out what they can do with them and stuff.
Yeah, I think you covered that on one of our monthly movie roundups.
Yeah, great movie. Yeah, so that's all my non-Hollywood stuff. How about you?
Yeah, my list is pretty similar. Of course, Triple R and Vikram Vedha from India. I also watched Brahmastra this year, but it wasn't very good. So, from Korea, Decision to Leave and Hunt. I also put the Roundup there because I quite like the Roundup. I found that really fun. Yeah, I've also got Broker. I didn't put The Sadness there because I thought The Sadness came out last year.
No, it did. It came out 2022.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
It came out on streaming in 2022. Yeah, it's kind of like my list is kind of like some movies were released 2021, but they were released like publicly.
Yeah, just chuck it on there.
Yeah, like it's pretty loose. Yeah, I mean it's The Sadness, man.
Yeah, The Sadness. We didn't talk about it last year, so I want to talk about this year. Yeah. I also put Jurassic Revival there just because it was fun. It was fun to watch. Yeah, it was like, it's, you know, when a movie just hits you the right way. Like I think. Like you had come over from Melbourne and it was like our first time seeing each other in a long time, and we were like, let's just watch something stupid. And it was like, it delivered on stupid. I think that's my list. We have a little bit of overlap. Like, obviously, Decision to Leave, a movie that we talked a lot about. And I think when we talked about it, you didn't like it initially. But you did grow to like it, and it is from one of our favorite directors as well. So and I think it's quite a different film to what we would expect from him. So I think that's why it kind of stands out in my mind as well. It's kind of it feels like not only is it from a director that I really like, it's also quite a unique film in his repertoire. Triple R is just really good though, right?
Yeah, Triple R. Yeah, Triple R is Triple R, man. You know.
I think because Triple R was really like a surprisingly good film as well, which will come to play in one of our later categories. But like, it kind of opened my eyes to Indian cinema too, and I think I'm not alone in that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, as I said, like it's definitely in that surprisingly good, like. Which we'll probably talk about in that category.
Yeah, but I think
when we get to that.
In terms of like overall impact, probably I'd have to give it to Triple R as best non-Hollywood for this year, just because like I think not just for me but for a lot of people is like a gateway movie to Indian cinema, and I think there are a lot of really good Indian movies out there. It's just that people haven't really been exposed to them until the success of this movie. So like Vikram Vedha, for example, I probably wouldn't have watched it unless I had watched Triple R first.
Well, I told you to watch Vikram Vedha because I saw it in the trailer when I was watching Chup.
But you were watching Chup, so would you have watched Chup if not for Triple R?
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah,
you know,
no, you're 100% right.
It's a ripple effect, right? So yeah, I think I'm probably gonna have to give it to Triple R. But what about you?
In terms of the categories, best Japanese movie for me is Ito. That movie was just like. Yeah, super good. Just very calming movie.
It is.
Best Indian movie is Triple R. Probably like hands down be Triple R. Best Taiwan movie is The Falls.
Okay.
Just great direction, great performances from the leads. From European, it'd be The Innocents. It's just I hadn't seen a film like that before, and for like roles played by 10-year-olds, like they did a really good job with that.
It's always good to see good child acting.
And for Korean, and probably best non-Hollywood for me would be Decision to Leave,
Okay.
which was interesting because through most of the year, I probably was thinking Broker would be the best Korean movie. But like Decision to Leave is interesting because it's a movie I kept revisiting and kind of appreciating it a bit more.
Right.
And just like, it's just such a different Park Chan-wook movie. And just such a different movie in general. Like, it's kind of, I appreciate the intricacies of it. And I think it really is like, probably the best non-Hollywood movie I watched last year.
I cannot argue with that. Like, Broker is good, but it is fairly straightforward compared to Decision to Leave. Decision to Leave kind of feels like Burning to me. Like, the more you watch it, the more, like, it's like an onion, right? To use that Thai analogy. Like, you just peel back another layer and, you find out more about the movie every time you watch it. I mean, I've only seen it once. But so like for you, having seen it 4 times by now, right?
And
so,
I want to catch it at the cinema again before it ends its run here. I think it's a really good movie.
Good fucking movie, I reckon.
And I think as movies, like you should be able to spend time rewatching them and growing to love them. A lot of movies that I've liked, I've disliked at first. And
really?
Decision to Leave.
Name another.
Trainspotting.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Fair play. no further questions.
It's one of my favorite movies. But let's move on. So what have we got now?
We got best music next. So before we were going to talk about opening and ending credits and music separately, but we've just lumped it into one category. So what does this mean, Tub? What does this award mean?
Yeah, I think for me, like, I love original soundtracks and songs made for movies. But for this year, I kind of put them together because I couldn't think of too many distinctly. But it's just basically like the feel of a song, of like the score for the whole movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe
but also,
best sound.
Like it's kind of like the best score, but also like a really good song that just encapsulates the movie. Like the score might not even be that good, but the song is just like, that kicks ass, This is sort of a loose category for me. But what's like defining your best music?
Yeah, I think you're right. It's song, whether it be in the opening credits or like just the score, part of the score of a movie that just kind of moved me and impacted me and maybe even just stuck in my head, really. So like my list is fairly extensive. Like in terms of open and ending credits, like I've got Attack on Titan's, final season, Rumbling, of course. It's fucking banger.
Rumbling's there. Sang that at karaoke the other day. It was a fucking release.
Fucking sick song, like, I'm not sure if you were counting visuals as well.
You can think of visuals. Why not?
Chainsaw Man made the cut because like just of the sheer number of movie references in that opening. I think it's just really cool, coupled with that song, Kickback. The Peacemaker intro is quite fun.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I didn't watch Peacemaker, but I would probably put it in there if I actually watched that show.
It's a really good opening credits. I think James
really
Gunn was saying that he wanted to make an opening credits that you just could not skip. I did skip it, but still good credits. Well done, Mr. Gunn. The score for The Batman, I found really cool.
Something in the way.
In terms of sheer meme worthiness alone, it's got to make the cut. I really want to stay at your house from the Cyberpunk anime.
Oh yeah, right. I probably should have put that in there.
Amazing song. That's just on every playlist that I have, just because that in coupled with the emotional like kick that you get whenever that song comes on that show, it's just so good. I've got the Northman as well because I feel like that had really good sound design in general, and I think the soundtrack had a lot to do with that. Vikram Veda. And Alcoholia, of course, because that's a fucking banger. Stranger Things is consistently good.
I've heard like Metallica and Running Up That Hill like so many times now.
And they,
like everywhere I go,
like they happen to choose like these pop hits on like heavy metal hits in the case of Metallica, but just that fit the whatever's happening in the show so well. Surprisingly, Day Shift as well. I found myself listening to that soundtrack quite a lot.
It's odd, yeah.
It's got a lot of 90s hip hop and funk and soul and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not a bad soundtrack, yeah.
And Natu Natu from Triple R, because I think that's a really fun song and dance number.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's like kind of as an introduction to like Indian dance sequences in movies. I think it's just really solid. That's my list. How about you?
Yeah, we got some overlaps. Like I've got Natu Natu as well from Triple R. We've got the Rumbling from Attack on Titan, Vikram Veda as well. I've just shoehorned Cyberpunk Edge Runners just because you mentioned it. Because I actually really like the use of Franz Ferdinand's songs and the end credits. So yeah, I just forgotten about that, but that's good. The scores that you hadn't mentioned. Adam by Eve, which I might have mentioned. It's basically an hour-long anime / live action music video for the artist Eve. So that one was pretty cool. Mona Lisa and the Blood Moon.
Oh, yeah.
The soundtrack is just really cool. Just like as a whole, great songs, great atmosphere.
Very eclectic.
I've got White Noise, which is a movie I only watched a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
it came out a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. Just watch the end credits and you'll see why. Probably some of the best end credits for a movie that I've seen last year or like ever, really. Like it's cool. I've got Pachinko opening track.
Oh yeah. That's fun.
It's just really cool. Like it just like really got me in the mood. Like it's because it's quite an upbeat song, but it's also like quite a heavy series, but like just the visuals and the songs complement the show together. I thought that one was really cool. Blonde. I'm a big fan of Nick Cave and Alice Warren. So I like the score. I think it's very atmospheric to the show, to the movie. So it just really set the mood for it. And probably would go same for Bones and All. Another kind of eclectic soundtrack. But very atmospheric as well. This one was an interesting choice, but Bodies, which is a weird... Because like it should be music that I don't like, but
it's a bunch of Instagram
for some reason,
songs, isn't it?
Yeah, but like the songs that they picked together and compiled it like really suited the mood for the movie, and I found myself actually enjoying the music, and it was very weird. So I'm like, I'm gonna put this in there. I've got the Roundup. It's got that song that plays at the end that makes me want to fight people. I'm just like, yeah, man.
I don't remember the song, but okay.
Oh, it kind of sounds like a Royal Blood song, but it's just like, yeah, it was just like the perfect end credit song to like that kind of movie. And I think that's all I've got there. So what is your best music?
Just before that, honorable mention to the end credits of Pearl. Because I think like it doesn't involve music, which is why I didn't put it in the music thing. But like the end credits of Pearl are superb.
Very
just good, just good direction and acting and
trying to watch and not look away was an interesting game that I was like, oh, I see you trying to do this movie. It's like, I'm not going to look away, and it was getting very uncomfortable. Yeah.
But no, if we're talking about music, then I'm going to give it to Vikram Veda, I think.
You really like that, the theme, I don't know what it's called.
It was such a loud movie, you know? It was so bombastic. And it fits the tone of the film so well. Like the soundtrack, and Alcoholia, it's so good.
What a jam, huh?
Not just the music, but the visuals as well that go with it. It like you wouldn't think that it fits in that kind of movie, and it doesn't, but that's kind of the point as well. And yeah, just a joy to watch and listen to, I reckon.
Do you think watching that MV without seeing the movie makes it lose a little bit of context? Like, do you think people would enjoy it as much? Because I've shown people Natu Natu, and they're like, I don't like this.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm like, but this is awesome. So, yeah.
Yeah, you might have to watch it in the context of the movie. But the thing is, it doesn't really fit with the with the movie.
Yeah, but like, it's but it's just kind of like, yeah,
I think
don't know.
it might
like,
be the contrast between what you see like of that character in the Alcoholia video versus what you see on screen throughout the rest of the movie. That might be what sells it. Yeah, maybe. Okay, don't watch Alcoholia on YouTube. Watch the movie Vikram Vedha 2022, and
then watch
that way you'll get the da 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 as well, which is cool.
Yeah.
How about you, Tavi? What have you decided to crown?
Best music. It would be Mona Lisa and the Blood Moon.
Okay.
I found myself listening to this soundtrack a lot while I was driving at night, and it just made everything like so much cooler. Just like it's weird because I don't listen to. I think the style of music is what they call like Italo disco.
Okay.
And like I kind of discovered this new genre of music, and it's just so cool because I do like electronic music, but I don't listen to it as much. But there's definitely like a lot of artists, who make beats and stuff. Like, I listen to like Toki Monster and Bonobo, and they obviously use a lot of electronics in their sounds. But like, there's just something about this soundtrack that was just set the mood so well and so like stylistically cool that I just couldn't stop listening to it. Yeah, just great soundtrack. Yeah, that's my choice.
Yeah, that's fair. I think.
Winner. Yeah.
Our next category is movie-based best horror movie.
Okay, so now this is kind of opening up to. I mean, like I did mention some Western movies in music. So now it's a free for all. Like, doesn't matter if you're Asian, doesn't matter if you're black, doesn't matter if you're white.
If
Just
it's horror,
whatever, man.
you're included in this list. And what a year for horror, right?
Yeah, I saw watched a lot of good horrors last year.
Like we had best comedy and a couple of other categories, but we just hadn't watched enough of them. But horror, we've watched a lot of horror this year.
We watched a lot of horror for sure. Yeah.
So you want to go through your list first, Tawi?
Let's see. I've got Bodies. I was very surprised by this movie, and probably should add it to that category later. But enjoyable. It's more like a murder mystery, really. But the genre says horror, so I'll put it there.
Yep.
This movie, I was contemplating whether I should put it on or not because it technically hasn't been officially released. I'm talking about Skinamarink.
Well, surely you flew to a place where they were showing
the
that.
thing is, so many people have seen this movie now, and it's coming out on Shudder this month, so maybe we could put this episode.
For the record, listeners, I have not seen this movie at time of recording.
Skinamarink is just such an original horror movie cinematography that I haven't really seen.
I could barely sit through the trailer of that film. It's fucking scary, man.
It's so fucking scary. Jesus
and it's not
Christ,
even like nothing happens in the trailer. It's just fucking scary.
This movie will make you question sleeping alone. And just looking into the darkness.
Whether or not that's what you look for in your horror. Because horror is a pretty wide genre in and of itself. Like, some people like horror comedies, some people like gore fest.
Action horror.
Slashes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of subgenres in horror. So, one person's best horror is probably not going to be the same as another person's best horror.
Oh, no. I mean, Skinamarink is definitely, like, if you look on, like, people either love it or hate it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll talk about that in another section. But next movie, Project Wolf Hunting.
Okay.
Just
is this a horror? Yeah.
It's kind of a horror. I'd call it a horror.
Okay. It's pretty gory. And there's a Frankenstein monster in it.
Yeah. It's more like an action horror. It's not very scary, but it's like... It definitely has horror elements. And they're like,
there's an unstoppable killer in it, so I guess that's like a Jason movie,
Yeah. I've got The Sadness, X, I've got Barbarian. Pearl is there. Crimes of the Future, which is kind of loosely a horror.
Body horror?
It's a strange movie, that one. But I enjoyed it. The Black Phone, which I really enjoyed as well.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's like, if you like Stranger Things, I think you'd like The Black Phone. Yeah. It's got that, like, following the kids kind of story. Terrifier 2. This was a fun treat to watch. I didn't die during the movie or faint.
Terrifier 2 or The Sadness, which one is more uncomfortable to watch?
Actually, that's true. I think The Sadness would take that.
Because of the sex stuff.
Yeah, The Sadness looks a bit more realistic as well. Okay. Yeah. Terrifier 2, like, the gore is, like, in spades. But it's also, it's like, I think the low budget kind of cartooniness of it kind of dampens it for me.
Sure.
Yeah, I've got VHS 99, which was a really fun movie to watch late at night. I was watching it with the Sunman, and we'd just come off watching Terrifier 1 and 2. Like, so we were marathoning horror during Halloween. So, yeah, just an anthology of horror. I like the VHS series. I got Bones and All there for being kind of like an experimental horror that I haven't seen before. Smile is there. A lot of fun.
Yeah, Smile was fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Incantation was also fun. As well.
Yeah, we got a watch party coming up. Probably before this comes out, actually. So
yeah, maybe, yeah, you may have seen it. And lastly, I have Nope, which I went on a big rant about this movie, about how good it was, but we never released it.
I haven't published
you
it.
left your hutch. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. So, yeah, I just enjoyed the premise. I like the direction of it. I like the small, towny feel of it. Yeah, great movie. How's your horror? Is it extensive as mine, or?
It is. There's some overlap. Barbarian, Pearl, Bodies, X. I've got Prey on there.
Oh yeah, Prey. Yeah.
That was pretty fun. I got Morbius. Morbius is in a few of my categories.
I forgot that. That should be in music, horror, best director.
We should probably just
Let's just end this episode right now. Blogies just goes to Morbius. Just sweeps everything. Everything is Morbius.
But yeah, I've also got Doctor Strange and Werewolf by Night on there, if we're talking about Marvel stuff. Bones and All and Smile. Yeah, Incantation. I put Day Shift on there because I think a lot of the horror elements were really good. Like the body acting of the vampires is really, really, like, quite outstanding in such a mediocre film, to be honest. But yeah, I dig the cool vibe. I feel like they weren't really trying that hard, but a lot of it looks really good. And I've got Nope. I put Choose or Die on there just as a laugh, but I've already forgotten what that film was about. So.
All over it is a guy saying "fuck the 80s." Fuck the 80s. That's the only. I haven't even seen the movie. I just watched someone review it, and they played that scene. And I was like, yeah, it's funny.
That's pretty much it. I think most of my list overlaps with yours. Shall we say what our favorite was at the count of 3? 1, 2, 3. No.
Skidamarink.
Okay.
Oh, no. Okay. That's a good choice. Nope would probably be my second favorite. Yeah.
Nope is just really good. It's just the same thing as like Decision to Leave. Just the amount of layers involved. Like, without giving too much away of the film, just really cool designs. Yeah, and just like every scene kind of felt like it just drew you in so much. It's like really like can't take your eyes off the screen cinema. And it's also a film where you can kind of analyze it a lot. And yeah, there's a lot of themes that aren't as obvious as other Jordan Peele movies I found.
It's not a typical Jordan Peele movie.
I feel like this is the film that he wanted to make, but he had to make a name for himself before he could make this film. Yeah. And
probably his least well-received film. I think Nope is underrated, honestly. Yeah. Like, a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people, I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, but I think I'm probably talking about this in the rant, but just very very harsh on this movie.
No, I think it's on the top 10 of a lot of lists that I've seen.
Yeah?
So I think
Okay,
it's
yeah.
gotten a lot of love in retrospect,
Yeah.
which I think it is that kind of movie, because you go into it expecting a Jordan Peele film and you don't really get that initially. But it is the kind of film where the more you think about it, the more you kind of grow to like it. It's kind of like Decision to Leave, you know?
Yeah.
So I think in hindsight, a lot of people have started to give it a bit more love.
Okay, no, that's good to hear, because I think it's his best movie, and it's his best
I would
enjoyable
agree,
movie. Yeah. I put Skinamarink there because this, for me, horror, I love all the genres and subgenres, but a horror movie should scare you. And this movie scared me a lot.
Okay.
I saw the trailer, struggled to watch it. I watched this movie on my own during the day, so I cheated because everyone says you should watch this movie at night by yourself. That's where you get the most effect. But I like to sleep as well. So I watched it, and it's just kind of like this meditation of images, because you're seeing shots of this house, hundreds and thousands of different frames of this house, and it's all very unnerving, and the entity is a threat. So it's not like one of those fake out horror movies where it's just a ghost trying to connect. There is a threat.
Fucking hate those.
And there are
friendly ghosts. Get the fuck out of here.
And there's definitely a couple of jump scares that that got me, because there's so much quiet in this movie. And just the little clicks of analog sound from the kids and just everything. And then when I was sleeping by myself, I could hear that same shit when I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
So it's it really dug into my mind.
It seems like it plays on people's real fear of their own house.
Yeah. And yeah, it's terrifying. And it's probably the least violent movie on my list, but the scariest. Yeah, it's quite a movie. Very good. But people either love it or hate it. Some people think it's pretentious, wanky garbage. Some people think it's the best horror movie ever made.
Okay.
Yeah, very original. I think a lot of movies are going to copy this style, because I'm going to copy
it. It doesn't seem like a popcorn horror film.
Oh, I had popcorn when I was watching it. So.
I don't know, because a lot of horror people that go watch horror films are groups of youths, that just want to yell at the screen and stuff. I don't know. Yeah.
We got best action.
Best action is next. I love a good action film or action scene.
Yeah, probably one of your favorite categories.
This is one of my favorite genres. So what are we doing, Tavi? Are we doing best action movie or best action?
Oh, it's kind of like a combination. It's kind of a combination of combination of both.
Okay.
I guess. Do you want to go through yours first?
Sure. I've got Carter, Ambulance, Vikram Vedha, The Roundup, Day Shift, Bullet Train, The Grey Man, The Princess, Top Gun Maverick, Avatar, Project Wolf Hunting, and The Killer, The Girl Who Deserved to Die. Once again, it's pretty slapdash because I've watched a lot of fucking action this year, and I might have left some out.
I'd only question one of your choices
Just
in your
one?
category.
Okay.
I think the action in Bullet Train is shit.
Yeah, I mean, Bullet Train, I have mixed feelings about Bullet Train because I think it actually would have been better as not an action film. The action that's in it is fine, I think, and I think it works with the tone of the film that they're going for. I think like that kind of close quarters action, that you have to do on like a Bullet Train. I think all of the performances were pretty convincing as well. I didn't really feel like I was watching stunt doubles go at each other for a lot of the time. Yeah, I think it was fine. It's definitely not the winner, but I just thought I'd give it a mention.
You chuck it there. Yeah, fair enough. It's not on my best action.
What's your list?
Mine would be I think I've got Hunt there. I like the Michael Mann
You
style.
like the running.
Yeah, I like the pulse running and sprinting. Yeah, that was like that sold me. Not my favorite movie of the year, but it was a pretty fun movie to watch. Quite a bit of flaws, but still good.
Two of our favorite actors. So I mean, at least one of our favorite actors.
Yeah. It's got Carter. I've got Carter, like yourself. I have Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Oh yeah, of course.
This movie is actually spread quite through because it's kind of a hard one to put a genre on.
Yeah.
But I like the action choreography. I think they're funny as well. I've got Triple R, which I'm surprised it wasn't on yours, but maybe you forgot. Because I just enjoyed
that's
those
true.
action scenes.
I should have put it on, The introduction scene of Raju alone is enough to put on the list.
The last two action scenes. Fucking awesome. Triple R is great.
Yeah. A guy does a 360 no scope.
He actually does it. I watched it again and it's like, I was actually very disappointed by not doing a 360 no scope. I really wish he did, but I remembered it wrong. I've got Project Wolf Hunting. Again, this is the gore and action was fun. I've got the Roundup. I have Baby Assassins there. I've got the Big Four. That was okay. I enjoyed the intro and the last action scene. I like that over the top violence. I've got Top Gun Maverick, which should just be there because it's Top Gun Maverick. But just the practical way of shooting action is amazing in that movie. I've got Batman because something's in the way. Avatar: The Way of Water, which I am going to talk about a bit later, but its action and special effects, it's top notch. I think, The Killer, The Girl Who Deserved to Die. I've got Ambulance there. That was a really fun movie, and Special Delivery, that Korean movie I mentioned before. So those are my best action. I probably may have left some out as well, but to keep this, so we're not here until like next year. So those are the ones that were there. So what's your big winner out of action?
Just looking at the list now, I see a lot of films with fairly similar approaches to action. You've got choreographed fight scenes. You've got like car chases and whatnot. You've got blue people chucking spears through pilots.
Do we have an award for best pilots killed on screen?
Hands down, Avatar 2. A lot of skewering of pilots in that.
You're a pilot in an Avatar universe. Get another job.
Mom, I graduated from pilot school.
It's like, oh wow, it's amazing, Billy. Wow, can't wait to fly people. It's like it's shot by
it's a big arrow through the chest. But no, I think in terms of like a unique approach to action, I'm gonna have to give it to Carter.
Okay.
Again, I have mixed feelings about Carter. I think like half of me feels like it would have been better as a straight up action film, but the one take perspective, adds at least a unique direction, and like the level of like stunt choreography as well involved, and just the actors doing a lot of the stuff themselves, and the amount of work that the stunt team has done to put everything together. I think in terms of effort, this movie wins out. In terms of finished product, it's a lot closer. But still the finished product is quite good.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting, because for my choice, I was wondering whether I would pick like something that was just a straight up action film, like there are no dramatic elements to it. I think I also have mixed feelings for Carter's. I really enjoyed the action, but it's definitely held back a little bit by budget restraints, and it could have been better still, but like it was just still pretty very, very fun to watch. But my winner is Everything Everywhere All at Once, just because I really enjoyed the action choreography mixed with the humorous elements of it. I mean, like when Michelle Yeoh fights the stunt choreographers, I forgot their names.
There's the Lee brothers,
But-
Andy Lee and Brian Lee, I want to
Yeah,
say.
that was just a funny ass scene. No pun intended.
Yeah.
But like it was
Guy
just
wants
like
to put something in his ass.
just like I hadn't laughed that much in a theater while watching a martial arts scene, and it's kind of like taking it back to like almost Stephen Chow movies, just like the silliness mixed in with the fighting.
Yeah, there's a lot of
I hadn't
callbacks
seen
in
that
that
for a long
movie.
time. Yeah.
Just in general, like you get a real sense of like the love of cinema. And yeah, especially a love of martial arts cinema, I think, comes through.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
It
if
just
that's, to do with the fight choreographers or the directors, probably a bit of
Yeah.
both. But
Yeah, I think
definitely
so,
shines through
yeah.
in their fight scenes.
Yeah, and just watching like Michelle Yeoh and Ki Hee Kwan just come back on screen and doing like martial arts and like doing it pretty convincingly is just great. So that's why it's there for me.
Yeah, props to Jamie Lee Curtis as well for doing wrestling moves or whatever she's doing. in that
Yeah,
film.
good on them. Next up, we got best. Well, I put best animated movie. So either Japanese, just animated movie, really.
Are we
Because
including, we're including TV series, right?
yeah, movie and TV
Okay.
shows as well. Because I realized I hadn't watched many single anime movies or animated movies or TV shows that much. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to be lazy and let's just make this one category.
All right, well, go through your list.
All right, so I have Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, and specifically Guillermo del Toro's because there's two very bad Pinocchio movies
Not
that came out last year.
Pinocchio, the true story, or whatever that one with Pauly Shore is.
Well, I'd watch that one over the Disney one. At least I have Pauly
I
Shore
haven't
being
seen
like,
it.
I haven't seen
Father.
it. Father, when can I leave to be on my own? Next up, I have Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Then I have Chainsaw Man, Belle, and The House, which is a Netflix movie. It's a 3-story stop-motion animated movie, horror. Actually, yeah, I probably should put that in my horror. I forgot that was a horror. It's kind of like a horror tales that are centered around this house, and it's quite interesting because they're told from different directors and different like characters. Like one's an anthropomorphic rat, and there's this like other one that's like some little girl, and yeah, it was good movie. I watched this earlier in the year. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. This is kind of I think it's mostly animated, but it's kind of animation / live action because there are live action actors in this.
Yeah, it's like a Chippendale situation.
Yeah. I can't, let's just say yeah for the sake of it. Attack on Titan season 4 part 2, part 2 specifically. And Mad God, which was a fucking bizarre ass movie.
A couple of stop motion films in there.
I'm a really big fan of stop motion. I love it as well. It's my probably after anime, it's my second favorite form of animation, stop motion. Yeah,
Fair enough.
But what about you? What's your animated list?
I've got Spriggan on there.
Oh yeah.
The Bob's Burgers movie is on there.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that yet. Yeah.
Attack on Titan season 4 part 2. I guess Bleach and Chainsaw Man, but they're not finished yet. Avatar. How do you feel about putting Avatar on this list, Toby?
Oh yeah, right. Avatar. I'm not sure about best for me. I will talk.
It deserves to be on this list. In terms of technical feat alone, I think it deserves to be on this list.
No, I'm not gonna put it. I'm not gonna put it on there. I'm not gonna put it on there.
All right. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio is on there. Cyberpunk Edge Runners, Lightyear is on there. Rick and Morty season, whatever the latest season was,
Oh yeah, shit! I still haven't watched that yet.
Same with Bob's Burgers and Archer, whatever the latest seasons of those series were. They're always consistently good, aren't they? Those shows.
Yeah.
And I've got Grogu and the Dust Bunnies. It's a animated short called Zen, Grogu and the Dust Bunnies. It is the Miyazaki animated, Studio Ghibli animated film based on the popular character Baby Yoda. Yeah, that was on Disney Plus. That came out. It's like 5 minutes long. Pretty good. Right. Yeah, pretty enjoyable 5 minutes. Just really pleasant Studio Ghibli stuff. That's pretty much it for my animated list. I've got a couple of ones that come pretty close to each other. Cyberpunk I really like.
Yeah, Cyberpunk was a surprise, huh?
But also Bob's Burgers the movie was very enjoyable to watch for me. And Pinocchio though, Pinocchio was so good.
Yeah, Pinocchio was really good.
So it's kind of hard.
I've got a couple of contenders as well.
Yeah, I haven't seen Marcel the Show with Shoes on. I'm pretty sure that's like up there in terms of stop motion animation and just animation in general. I think I'm gonna give it to Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Very closely followed by Pinocchio, I think. Just because Pinocchio is great, but it's also quite sad. You know? And I'm not saying Cyberpunk Edge Runners is not sad, because it is sad, obviously. But like, I really enjoyed the energy in Cyberpunk Edge Runners, like the frenetic pacing of a lot of the episodes, and just like it made me want to play the game again. And I thought that part of my life was over. You know, part of my life where I was sinking hours into Cyberpunk, but like
it revived it.
Yeah, just reminded me how good the world is, and like when you have these kind of dynamic characters like David Martinez and Lucy, and the others in this world, you can see like the potential for the growth of this franchise, and I don't know, and of course it's just top-notch animation from Studio Trigger as well. Just consistently good. And the song man, it brings all the feels. Cyberpunk Edge Runners, good shit.
I've definitely got a few really strong contenders. Like I loved Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. I really liked Edge Runners and Belle, but I'm actually going to give it to Marcel the Show with Shoes on. This is just such a wholesome movie, but also like for indie film snobs as well. Like they love it. You can watch it with your when I say watch it with your kids, like this is actually a movie you can watch it with your kids. It's just such a nice movie that you can watch with anyone and anyone can enjoy. Like I can't imagine someone not liking this movie unless you're just a massive prick. Then and it's just like it feels so real watching a movie like this, and it's like not real. You're watching stop motion animation,
right?
And like I've met a few people who kind of will look at movies and let's say like comparing non-fiction to fiction, and they say, I don't like watching fiction because it's not real, or I don't like reading novels because it's not real. I prefer non-fiction stuff, and that's fine. But like, it's this kind of stuff that is more real to me, I think. And it's just like, it's just fantastic, I watched this with my mum as well. She really enjoyed it. Yeah, she likes it. Pretty easy to follow. And if you can't follow it, you can just watch all the cute animation that's there. But this is actually like a legitimately good family movie, and it's going ahead all of like the dark stuff that's on my animated list.
and stop motion is hard to pull off as well. It takes a lot of work, so you got to respect the people that get involved with stop motion animation, like Mad God as well.
Mad God,
just looked like a huge chore to me.
Oh, I remember it took like 20 years to make.
It's a wet, slimy puppet show.
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit more about that movie in a sec. But we got the next category here. I'm not sure if you saw too many of these. This is actually one of my favorite genres of movie, best drama.
Drama's a bit trickier to categorize, right?
Yeah, it's quite broad. I've got it like when a movie might have action elements, but the center of it is like an emotional core, I suppose, when it comes to me, or maybe seeing like slice of life kind of stuff.
Okay.
Well, do you have a lot of dramas
No.
you can?
You go ahead. I think most of mine will overlap with yours anyway.
For me, best drama, I've got My Small Land, Ito, Tar, with Kate Blanchett,
okay.
which is apparently my most watched actress of last year,
Oh,
or
really?
actor of last year, according to Letterboxd.
Okay.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like,
So
did I really watch that movie with Kate Blanchett in
that
it?
Rings of Power that you watched. It's too much Galadriel.
She's not in that. Thank God. I've got Everything Everywhere All at Once because I think at the core of this movie, it is a family drama.
Sure.
I have Snowball, which is, I think it was actually a 2020 movie, but it came out to Australia on SBS On Demand. So Broker. I have After Sun, which is like a movie that's kind of sweeping the festival darlings, like all the festivals at the moment. And this movie snuck in last night, American Girl. Great movie, really, really good movie. But yeah, like what have you got?
Well, yeah, I've got Everything Everywhere All at Once as well. Broker, Decision to Leave, Bones and All, as well. Those were my... Yeah, again, like drama is pretty hard to categorize because a lot of films have drama in it, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that these films were more like leaning towards like personal drama, I guess, or like drama involving people, even though some of the themes might be horror themes, some of them are mystery, and some of them like lean towards action comedy. But that's what I had. And from your list, there wasn't any that I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Like drama's kind of my wheelhouse when it comes to watching stuff. Like I watch a lot. So
Did you have Ito on your list?
I did have Ito. I think I said it. Did I say Ito?
You did. I think you did say Ito.
Yeah.
Ito is quite good. I had actually completely forgotten that I watched Ito, but it is quite good. Hard to pass up Everything Everywhere All at Once, but I'm not sure about like for it to be the best drama. What do you think about Broker for a drama? Would you classify it as a drama?
Yeah, one of the definitive dramas. It's a family drama, is it not?
Yeah.
Kind of. That's like Hirokazu's bread and butter.
Yeah, I think I would give it to Broker. Just got really good talent behind it. The director and the actors.
And IU.
And IU, of course, yeah.
Even though she betrayed me recently. So she's taken off my best actress. See you later, IU. Nah, you're all right. You're kidding. You're 29 years old now. You deserve it.
Yeah,
but
fuck that guy, whoever he is.
Yeah,
fuck that guy.
even though I mean, like, yeah, he's a bit bland. To be fair.
You do better, are you?
Yeah. Actually, yeah, I picked Broker as well. Like, Ito was a very, very close second, and like those two were like fighting for the number one spot. Ito was just a movie that I wasn't expecting.
Ito is more like your kind of underground hit, you know?
It's definitely like an
it kind of reminds
hit.
me of like Nana. Like the production design, everything about it feels a bit smaller scale than Broker, right?
But it's such a...
It's very charming.
Yeah, it's just... But it's such a... It's hard to explain. It's such a realistic movie, but like... It's quite conflict-free, but it's also just really well-directed. It's just... Yeah, I think like part of it is just me not expecting to watch such a good movie.
There's a lot of subtlety behind it as well. A lot of subtle scenes.
It's very similar to like a Hirokazu movie as well. I can definitely see like those influences. But like I think overall, just like a movie that I maybe just enjoyed just like that teeny bit more is Broker. Yeah,
It's a
just
bit more
like the style
polished
of it.
as well.
The humor there and IU's there.
The premise
so,
is good too.
Yeah.
And Song Kang Ho, man, can't really be.
Yeah, he's a bit OP. Yeah. The next category is kind of like something that is kind of I specialize in as well. I'm not sure if you have actually any movies in this list, but
Maybe you should list yours, and I'll see what I can add to that. Because again, the definition of this film is a little bit ambiguous.
Yeah, it's well. It was originally best art house, but I thought I would MTVify it and like with the cool kids. So I call it best wanky movie. And wanky means
movies for
it's
snobs.
art house, movies for snobs where directors could just like let loose and do whatever the fuck they want.
It's a type of movies that have like 90% critic rating and 20% audience ratings.
Yeah, or sometimes everyone hates them, like 30%.
Everyone hates them except Tavi, who you might like it.
Movies can be quite like fluid, it doesn't necessarily, and this might be a bit blasphemous for me as a writer to say, but it doesn't necessarily need to have the best story or even the best acting.
Yeah.
There's like these like forms of expression
a lot of the time
kind of movies.
It's about atmosphere. It's about tension. It's about the things that aren't said, right?
Yeah. So it's like a lot of criticism where I was like, oh, this movie is so up its own ass.
But
and
a lot of the time they are up their own ass, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, right?
That's true. But you may as well call all the French New Wave directors up their own ass.
Yeah, the
you may as well
Lisa
call all the Russian just everyone that has contributed to cinema is just up their own ass. And
All right. Do you want to go through your list first?
Sure. So I have Triangle of Sadness. This is a weird movie. It's just about it's initially about this couple who one's an influencer and one's kind of like her boyfriend, and he follows her around, and they go on they're invited on this cruise, which is the basic plot line, just full of affluent rich people. It's hard to explain. You just have to watch it, really.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these wanky films are hard to explain, and you just got to watch them.
Yeah.
But I won't.
You won't. Next, I have Bardot, First Chronicles of a Handful of Truths, which is the Alejandro Inarritu's follow-up from The Revenant. Not related. Mm-hmm. So this movie is really weird. It's just basically about a stressed out filmmaker who has a movie coming up, and he goes on a series of surreal trips. I've got Mad God, which I really can't explain. It's a stop motion animated film, and it's initially about a character called the Assassin who goes onto this alien-ish planet that's run by a giant baby that's on a screen or something. Then it just descends into madness. And that's probably as much as I can explain.
So this is the Phil Tippett Passion Project.
Yes, that's it.
20 years in the making kind of thing. Yeah, I mean it looked surreal for sure.
Yeah, it's very I definitely would need to watch it again to really make my mind up about it. But it's definitely a visually stunning film, and probably one of the more controversial picks, which is a movie that everyone seemed to hate, is Blonde. The story of Marilyn Monroe, based on the fictionalized version of her story from the novel Blonde, which I'm reading at the moment because I actually really like this movie. I really liked, again, me, I like long movies because I get into these kind of trances, and I like tortured characters as well. So it was this really kind of whack journey for me when I was watching this movie. Because I started watching this movie at 1 a.m. at night, and I was just watching it till 4 in the morning, and it was just this really vivid trip. So I felt a lot of emotions while watching this movie, which is what an art house movie should make you feel.
Okay.
Which is why I think it got a lot of hate, is because, like, you know,
Too many emotions.
no, it's
Emotions
just
too
like
strong.
it's just like people. Yeah, it's not a conventionally structured movie.
Do you think
but-
that's why people hated it? Do you think it's not because of all the
it's all the
sexploitation?
it's the I wouldn't even call it sexploitation. Like,
That's what people are calling it, Tavi.
it's if you're like getting. I think I talked about this in
You did, yeah.
yeah. So just listen to that or my
I'll link it here.
yeah. But like, I think people were missing the point of this movie. But yeah, like, again, I have tastes that are pretty different to a lot of people. So yeah,
Certainly
but I think it's a good
to
movie.
me, because I mean that's why we partnered up, because we wanted to showcase all tastes in movies. Because all tastes are valid, you know. Taste is subjective, yeah.
No, that's true. Yeah,
It's not
as much
the-
as I'm like, yeah,
It's not the end of the world.
sometimes
I mean, you should be open to other kinds of film and TV
Yeah.
show, but like, yeah, if you like, you know, you like what you like.
Yeah.
If you don't have time to watch these wanky films, then that's fair. Because Blonde is pretty long, right?
Yeah, just I don't know. I think you should watch it.
I will
And
not.
here's another kind of controversial pick, not for sexploitation or anything, but like, it's definitely a wanky movie. It's White Noise, the new Noah Baumbach movie. This movie, like, it feels like, because it's based off a novel, and when you're watching it, the style of this movie is very, like, interesting. Like, it's actually quite a colorful movie, but like almost in a sickeningly fake way, which is kind of the point. And a lot of the dialogue is very like you're reading a novel, which is odd because it's quite different, because Noah Baumbach is usually a master at realistic dialogue in films. So this movie is quite experimental for him. And he teams up again with Adam Driver from Marriage Story, which is another great Netflix movie. But yeah, White Noise is it's a good watch. I was actually watching it today again when I was making gyoza for dinner, because it's like I just liked listening to the dialogue. Like, yeah, I'll probably talk more about this movie when I'm talking about Adam Driver later. But then I've got Adam by Eve, the animated music video, and Skinamarink, which is, yeah, it's definitely a wanky movie, which is a lot of people have been calling it out for being a pretentious bore fest. When, yeah, I mean, we live in the TikTok generation, so, you know, it's... Anyway, I should stop assaulting my audience.
The requisite is one jump scare for every 3 minutes of film, Tavi. So, like, if it doesn't meet that requisite, then it's wanky.
That's dumb. Anyway, but yeah, what do you got for wanky?
I got one movie, Tavi. I got The Northman.
The Northman.
The best I could do.
Yeah, The Northman is like Robert Eggers' like least wanky movie as well. Apparently,
Right?
yeah.
But he's still a wanky director, I reckon.
Yeah, The Northman it's a little bit wanky because it's very different from what you'd expect that kind of movie to be.
That coupled with the way it was marketed, I don't think it was marketed as the movie that it was. It was marketed as like a Viking epic.
A Viking epic
which
revenge,
it kind of is, I
yeah.
guess. But like,
I guess I should put that in my wanky as well.
yeah, I mean, it is basically just a guy that's hell bent on revenge to the point where like he can't really see reason. But like the way that, you know, the off-kilter nature of all Robert Eggers films, I think that kind of puts it in this kind of wanky category. There's a lot of shots where it's like you're not really sure how you're supposed to feel. And the subversion as well, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I quite like The Northman. I think
Northman's great.
It's like that good level of like entertaining.
Of wanky and entertaining. Yeah.
So obviously that's my pick.
That's your best wanky movie. Yeah, I'm actually picking White Noise,
Okay.
which is a movie that snuck in like pretty much last minute. It only came out a couple of weeks ago. This movie is like, it's billed as a dark comedy, but the humor is very, very subtle, but it's also really funny. Like, it's really hard to explain.
Of all the films on that list that you mentioned, this is probably the closest that I would come to watch.
You would watch something, yeah.
Because it is on Netflix, so that makes it a lot easier.
No, I think you might actually like this one. It's definitely wanky, but it's one of the more entertaining wanky movies. It's really funny. There were a lot of times in this movie where I laughed out loud due to some of the they're not even quips. It's just like things that they say that sound very absurd, but it's just like matter of fact. Like, before we go on a break, like, there's Adam Driver's character who's a professor of at this university, and he specializes in Hitler studies, right? That's his field. Like, he's an expert on Hitler, but he doesn't know how to speak German.
Okay.
So he like gets German lessons from this guy because he's really embarrassed by it. And it's just, that's really funny. And then there's like Don Cheadle, who's his colleague. He's like, he specializes in like idols, like American idols, and he wants to specialize in Elvis. And there's like a really funny line where like Don Cheadle's like really looks up to Adam Driver, and he's like Elvis is like my Hitler. And it's just like, dude, that's so fucking funny. Like, do you realize what you're saying? And then there's like this scene where it's kind of like Don Cheadle and Adam Driver are like comparing, like they're talking to these students and they're sort of trying to compare who was the more iconic person. And so Adam Driver's trying to like say why Hitler is more memorable than Elvis, and it's just like this. It's so fucking ridiculous that it's just really funny. Yeah, you have to watch it. It's an amazing movie. It's good.
Yeah, we're gonna watch.
Yeah. Should we take a break now? Maybe for the night. I don't mind going, but like
let's do one more category and then we'll take a break for the night. I think our next category is best on-screen death. Yeah, it was hard to pick to pick this list, I reckon, because
actually this one was quite hard as well for me.
I mean, you kind of have to remember specific scenes of each film. Before we talk about this, probably give a spoiler warning for all the films involved in this list.
So, there's a lot. There's quite a few.
We'll say that there's spoilers in this list. So I've got a few. I've definitely missed some, so I'm hoping that you'll fill in the gaps for me. But I've got Black Bolt's death from what's it called? Multiverse of Madness.
Multiverse of Madness. That's right.
I've got the Aussie guy from Avatar, the Aussie whaler guy from Avatar. Gets his arm amputated and then flung into the ocean.
That's fair. I remember that.
Might not be dead, but he's probably dead, right? I've got Justin Long's character from Barbarian. That was just fun to see him get his, comeuppance. I've got Pearl chasing her sister-in-law down with an axe. That was just really cool to watch. I forgot
about that. I should actually put that on my list as well.
Zazie Beetz' death in Bullet Train, it was quite funny. I know you didn't like that movie very much, but she's only got one antidote kind of thing. It's pretty funny. The North Korean guy from Carter. So I don't remember specifically how he dies, but I just remember him like going out in a blaze of glory, and that's good. I've got the weird math guy in Alice in Borderland Season 2. The guy in the scales game.
And he gets burnt.
All of those characters had pretty good deaths in that. In that scene. But
I was thinking about that one as well. Yeah.
And I've got the guy, the guy in Nope. The director guy who rolling the film as he's getting sucked into his mouth.
I actually have Nope as well, but I had a different. But no, that's actually that's a better one then. Yeah. So I'm actually going to change that.
Yeah, that's my list. How about yours?
Yeah. Well, with Nope, I actually originally just had the carnival attendees.
Oh yeah,
Just that scene, but no, definitely the cinematographer. Yeah, because I always like do that to Sunman every time. I don't know we're doing. So I was just like like every time we're trying to do something that's kind of like very mediocre, but we're doing a lot of effort. Like we're like doing it to the point where we'd sacrifice our own lives to do it.
yeah.
I think it's really
a very
funny.
like us in joke kind of.
Yeah. It's really funny. But to go on my list, I've got Lee Yu Mi as Nayeon and All of Us Are Dead.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
I
that was
quite enjoy her death that much. I enjoyed her arc.
I didn't enjoy the death, but it was shocking, I think.
Yeah, it did kind of rob her of her like resolution.
So I thought it was good. Like, yeah, my criteria was kind of a bit different. It's both between like entertainment and what was like shocking as well,
impact.
like story wise. Yeah, John Leguizamo's death in Violent Night, when he gets shipped up with the chimney and it's just a torso. I thought that was pretty funny. In Terrifier 2, there's one of the lead characters' name is Ali, and this is a very famous or infamous death, which is probably the scene which caused a lot of people to puke or faint because it's fucking brutal. Like
is there someone getting cut in half?
That's the first one, which is actually I think more brutal. But this one, it's like, I mean, she gets her eyes cut open, she gets scalped, she gets her arm ripped off, and it's just like, and I think because the character is not that unlikable as well, she's actually one of the less like more likable friends of the lead. So it's kind of like, oh damn man, like GG. Yeah.
It's not gonna be in Terrifier 3.
No, definitely not. I have random Baker's Dozen dude from Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
Okay,
which is like,
I haven't seen it.
There's like this gang. This is like this gang that one of the antagonists has, and it's kind of funny. Like, this movie is a surprisingly violent movie for a kids film, because there's like this scene where like, yeah, they got to cut down this tree, and then like, because previously like the main characters went through because they showed the tree love or whatever, and the guy's got to go cut it down, and then like the plant like sucks the guy's skin off, like it eats him, and it is all that's left is his bones. I'm like, whoa, Jesus Christ. And then like what follows after that is a bunch of these people dying to these trees. And I'm like, oh wow, that's what I told you, like this movie's got a pretty high body count for like a Shrek spin-off movie. But yeah, I've got that there because it was just really funny. The nerdy otaku guy from The Sadness, because that's that's a pretty nasty way to go. You know, getting your junk cut up by like, you know,
with like
medical
a bone
tools
saw or something.
Yeah,
that's pretty bad.
That's a pretty bad way to go, but very funny to watch. This one's a bit of a spoiler. Paul Baumer's death in All Quiet on the Western Front. So that's the lead character. Very kind of emotional death. I can't talk too much about this one, but the suspect from Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
No, I mean, we're in spoiler territory, Tavi, so...
Okay, yeah. That was just really...
Which suspect? They're all suspects in that movie.
Well, that's the thing, because, like, yeah,
people.
I hadn't really, like... I was planning on not talk, but if we're in spoiler territory, yeah, it's the last scene... when he's revealed that there was no suspect. It's just him trying to film it. It's just him trying to film a TikTok.
Slicing his own throat with the saber.
Yeah, that was really funny. Like I'm sure maybe some people picked it or whatever, but I watched it.
A song that they play, is it that like, I'm bored in the house and I'm in the house bored? So
yeah.
It's like a TikTok song, and he's like swinging his sword around, and you're like, oh no.
I laughed.
That was quite good.
Like,
it's like that sense of like, okay, this is what's happened, kind of settling into your gut as you're watching this scene of this guy kill himself through sheer stupidity. Yeah, it's quite good.
I don't know if you're going to watch this movie, In the Banshees of Inisherin. Are you going to watch it?
I am going to watch it.
Because this is kind of a spoiler. Okay.
It's
There's
fine.
a character called Jenny, and that's all I'll say.
Okay.
And I'm just assuming people, yeah. And yeah, I've just shoehorned in the Pearl, chasing her sister, not her sister, the
Sister-in-law.
like her cousin, sister-in-law, that was actually a pretty good scene, which I had forgotten about. But yeah, like, did you already say your favorite?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
No, it's hard. I think there are a lot of good deaths on this. Like Pearl chasing down her sister-in-law is just really cool scene, you know.
Yeah, I actually changed my choice just talking to you.
Yeah.
Just changed my mind.
So you're gonna choose that one?
No, I initially had Lee Yumi's death or Nion's death in All of Us Are Dead because it's very impactful. But yeah, I don't know why, but I forgot about the cinematographer in Nope. And I think in terms of just an enjoyably funny death,
I'm gonna have to give it to that guy as well. It's so funny. It's so good.
It's really, really funny. It's like it was in the promotions for like on Instagram. I remember seeing it. This scene looks really funny. Yeah, but like out of context, you don't really know. But like that, it's a really funny way to go.
It's a very us scene. It's
It's just I changed it when you mentioned it. I'm like, I can't believe I had forgotten about this death. It's really like it's not supposed to be funny, but yeah, as you said, it's just us.
I mean, they're all pretty good, especially the Pearl one. But yeah, a lot of them are funny as well, which is why I chose them. But the Nope guy just takes the cake, I reckon.
It's just like it's full of it's the most. Even though I said I've forgotten it, it is the most memorable.
It's like that character as well, like that actor. He's like
it's just perfect.
He's that guy from Metro, that movie with Eddie Murphy.
That guy. Yeah, it's got that
whirling the camera. It's got the gravelly voice. It's like,
it's a really good death. Honestly, is like by far like the best death. No, all of the other deaths are good too, but like just funny. Just
another reason why Nope is a good movie.
Nope is fantastic.
All right, shall we take a break for the night, Tavi?
This is gonna be a long episode.